Hey everybody, it's Ryan with Propelio. I've got Casey Dehle with me. Today is really special because the past couple of weeks we've had both Carlos Reyes and Sal Shakir from Phoenix, Arizona, and All In Entrepreneurs. And Carlos, Sal, are y'all ready?
LTV is sponsored by Noble Mortgage and Investments, Batch Skip Tracing, Think Multifamily, CreativeCashflow.com, and LifeInner.
Sal Shakir and Carlos Reyes back with us together. We thought we'd bring them back to kind of tie it all together and dive a little bit deeper. So if you guys are ready, are y'all ready to dive in a little bit? It looks like it. I think they're making sure their T's right.
Let's do it. We're writing the notes so we can stay on track. You know how we like rabbit holes here?
Awesome.
Absolutely.
That is true. There's a lot of info there.
There's nothing wrong with a rabbit hole.
We're like really close to each other, I feel like.
That's all right. You guys work in business and life. You should be shoulder
I think I
to
should
shoulder.
like go like this a bit. Right?
Well, are you guys ready to dive in?
There we go.
We're having some adjustments
All right.
here.
That was a little too close.
All right. Well, hey guys, thanks so much for coming back on with us. I'd like to just honestly just kind of give a quick little snapshot as to what the size of your business is now, like just about kind of the average size of your team, just so we can kind of use that as some context and in moving forward and how you got there.
And I think we just lost the internet.
Oh, did we lose the internet? We're having a really great time.
I know
our
it's so funny because everything was working like, oh, I know what's wrong. Can you send me the Black Cat 5, Tommy?
Black Cat 5? Oh, yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah. That's
My
our
internet
bad.
connection is unstable. Oh my god.
Yeah, well, ours too. You know, that's the problems of small business, man.
Well, my phone's working pretty well.
I think we're good. Did you hear any
Okay.
of
It's a little
Casey's
delayed,
question? It's
Are we
okay.
good on your side?
We'll just edit all that out.
Yeah. We're good. Did y'all hear the question
Okay.
I asked, or should I do that again?
Let's do it one more time.
Okay,
I apologize.
awesome. No worries. We're back. We're gonna keep going. So the question I wanted to ask first to get us started is, why don't y'all just again give us a really brief context of the size of your business, about how many employees you have, and just kind of that way when we move forward and talking about how you scaled, what tools you used, we can have an idea.
Beautiful, beautiful. And we're gonna go over hiring, and we're gonna go over building a team, and acquiring personnel the right way, etc. But my name is Carlos Reyes, and right there. My name is Carlos Reyes, and Sal and I started our business less than 4 years ago, and we started it by doing the elbow grease and going through the school of hard knocks, just like a lot of investors do, failing forward, learning as we go through the process, and here we are, less than 4 years later. We have built this multi-million-dollar, national real estate acquisition company that operates in 15 states. And it's been just a blessing, like, for me to be a part of this with my business partner Sal. And just to give you a quick background on me, Mexican-born immigrant, came here in 1997. Single mom, dirt poor most of my life. And God's blessed me with this opportunity, and just to fulfill my potential, and that's where we are today. If you want to give them a little background about yourself, Mr. Sal.
Well, my name is Sal Shakir. My full name is Salwan Shakir. And I'm from originally. I came in here when I was 15 years old, and I'm a Catholic from Iraq, believe it or not. And worked with the U.S. Army for a couple of years. Did odd kind of jobs here and there, contracting, everything you can name it. And did wholesale cars for a while, then opened up a retail shop, and jumped into business with Carlos finally with real estate. We're like, let's open up something that we can make money from. And finally, it was real estate. And we did it.
So
far.
That's awesome.
We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it.
In the past couple shows that we did with you guys, we talked about how we gave a lot of massive tips about learn the job and then find somebody you pass those things off to. But I know Casey, literally has a ton. So I'm gonna let her run the gambit on all these questions, and then I'll jump in for comedic effect. So Casey, please take over.
Well, why I'm so intrigued to interview you guys is because one of the biggest problems I'm personally having, and what I hear over and over again, is we can get all the tips that we want in terms of how to wholesale a deal and how to do contracts. But when it comes to the scaling side, the first steps that you take, how to hire the right people. So my first question is, you guys obviously did it, you know, the hard knock way, like all of us do. What was the very first thing that you did, whether it be go to a seminar, get a mentor, put a process in place in terms of starting to systematize your business?
So I'll be honest with you. Our business did not start exploding until we started putting systems and structure and, you know, personnel in place. It was just Sal and I for like the first year. And, you know, we kind of were, I guess, maybe plateauing, or I don't know if we were selfish, but, you know, I'll give you just an early background on how, you know, how our first marketing campaigns went. We were so scared of spending money on marketing that we would do handwritten bandit signs just to save like 50 cents, right?
They were cheaper to handwrite.
It was cheaper just to handwrite. And that's the mindset of a lot of folks out there, right? Should I move in here? Oh, no, I'm good. Okay. That's the mindset of a lot of investors out there, right? They are afraid to spend money on their business, right? That is something that is very, very common. And that's also another thing that separates the massively successful investors to the kind of, you know, I'm not going to say mom and pop shop investors, but so we're talking systems, we're talking structure, we're talking hiring a team, which is personnel, and taking risk, investing into your business. You know what I mean? That's having an abundant mindset, putting it on the line for your business. That is my opinion of when we started scaling, unless you have something else.
No, absolutely. That was it. We just started investing in the company, and a lot of people see it as an expense, but we saw it as an investment. No matter how much, if we made $100,000 or $200,000 and we wanted to dump that back into the business, that was an investment for us. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to spend money and this and that, because we looked for the bigger picture. And since day one, I think since we started our brand, it was all about building something bigger. We right off the bat, guys, we knew, like, we saw a huge opportunity here in Arizona. Before we even virtually started expanding into other markets, we saw a huge opportunity. We saw all these investors, and they were all doing the same things, right? They all had, you know, blah, blah, blah investments, or blah, blah, blah acquisitions, LLC, blah, 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 blah. So we started a consumer brand right off the bat, and we started dumping money into that consumer brand. But that came shortly. I'm not going to lie to you. Our first 3 mailing campaigns, we were so scared. It was $2,500 per campaign. We were so scared that we split that with one of our good buddies, Jared Vidalis from Highest Cash Offer. We went halves on our first 3 marketing campaigns. Each marketing campaign produced over $60,000. And we were like, why are we still splitting like marketing campaigns with people when we're getting a crazy return? Now, keep in mind, you know, a few years ago, mail was providing an amazing return. And after the 3rd campaign, we just said, that's it. We're just going, you know, we're not splitting campaigns. We're dumping a bunch of money into our company. At that point, guys, we were only like, now, I don't care how much money our company makes. If it makes 500 grand, 700,000, I don't care. Sal and I pay ourselves $10,000, and the rest is back in the company. At that point, once we started making a little bit of money, we were paying ourselves $5,000, and we were dumping all of it back into our company. Whether that meant, you know, putting money into our website, building our brand, PPC, digital marketing, SEO, you know, whatever it took, more marketing campaigns, hiring, bringing on an acquisition guy, bringing on cold callers, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we were just dumping everything back into our marketing. Developing. There's so much developing.
Podio development, right?
Not even Podio or anything, just like resources and developing and trying new things. And trying those new things are not cheap. So to try them out and then waste time on it, and employees' time, and everybody, like, it costs more money, and all that was part of the development and the growth. And we were willing to dump it all, in which we probably did. I mean, we have it all in there.
Well,
we didn't take it out.
Real quick, guys, like when you first started, and you were talking about we want to build a big company. What does that mean? Did y'all have a goal of like 2 to 3 acquisition guys, 2 to 3 dispositions, or did y'all set out saying, hey, we want to have 100,000 strong, a company, and what is that goal, or in it, do you have an end goal in mind, like as far as the size of your company?
So yes, we don't have an end goal yet, to be quite honest with you. We're thinking about different things that we're working with, but what I could say is we have built such an amazing team. In our entire existence, our team right now, we have the best team we've ever had in our entire existence. And if I show you a video of, like, remember yesterday, it's like a boiler room in there. Right?
Oh my God, I have this video.
Yeah, I got to send you this video after this show to where you see everybody's on the phone and, okay, so this is where we're at, blah, blah, blah. Every single acquisition guys walking around, negotiating with sellers. You got our junior acquisition guys, aka our lead managers, aka follow-up managers. They're on the phone trying to get people back into a warm status. I mean, our team right now it's pretty heavy. I'm not gonna lie to you. We have probably just in the office alone 20 something people just in the office, in a 2,500 square foot office, and we're actually looking to buy a commercial building because we're expanding. We're growing rapidly. We just hired another 2 junior acquisition personnel yesterday. We hired 2 more acquisition people yesterday. So that's another 4 people we're adding to the team. It's getting insane, and we're expanding. We're looking to buy a commercial building as we speak. We've been looking for a commercial building the past 4 months, something of anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000 square feet, just because of that reason.
And that hasn't been successful yet.
We haven't found the right thing. As investors, we're very picky on what we're looking for. It has to be a great deal, but I don't know if that answers your question. Now, again, that's only in the office. You're talking about our team. That's only in the office. Outside of our office, guys, we have anywhere from 75 to 100 people working around the clock. This studio right here, this Gold Level Media Marketing, who handles all of our companies, right? Them alone, I mean, they got anywhere from 10 to 15 people working around the clock. That's just one little leg. That's not talking the cold calling leg. That's not talking our digital marketing leg. We have so many people just combining forces and creating synergy in order to accomplish the same goal. So
that's great, guys. Because I know you're so expansive and you're so big, but I know Casey's like okay, cool, but let's drill down to the
yeah,
core
like
of it.
I think the question, you guys obviously have a huge operation. I know what that's like. It's like you start building processes for your business and you realize there's a process for a process for a process. So my question is, let's break down how you got to where you are with all of these people working for you, and what were the steps that you took in order to systematize it. For example, you had to hire somebody at first. We all know how much of a time suck it is to train. Right? So did you all, what came first? Were you all creating the processes, like hiring, the process for doing the cold calling before you hired? Did you do it during? How did it work? So
Casey, every single business or every single company has a different need, right? Every single company has a different need. And I should let, what, I'm talking too much. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I'll go after you. Go, it's your turn.
If you're asking what was our first hire, it was an acquisition manager, obviously. So because we need to free up our time to actually work on the business, not in the business, right? So the first hire should be in a company is an acquisition manager. Therefore, you can free up your time. You can't just hire someone and put them on the side and like start working. Obviously, they're gonna have to shadow you. If you're the best closer in the company, which was Carlos, and the company, he was the closer, the acquisition. So our acquisition manager shadowed him until he became on his own. As far as systemizing and building it up where it's at, I always look at the foundation of everything, right? So, when we had our interview last time, I told you the system was the foundation of everything to us, right? So I looked into a bunch of systems, bunch of CRMs, and bunch of workflows, and what can we do to make this into a company that we can retire one day and it continues to go without us being involved in it on the day-to-day. So I heard about Podio. Everybody kept talking about Podio, and I was like, no, I can find something better. Therefore, we started with Podio. I'm like, no, I give up. I looked for everything else, and then Podio was the one. Then we start developing the Podio and developing it more. And then as we were doing that, we start hiring more people.
So, and let me give you, Casey, let me give you just an example of some of the seats or some of the positions within our company. Okay, like Sal mentioned, our first hire was an acquisition guy. Okay, that was our first hire. Why? Again, every single company has a different need, has a different necessity, right? Mm-hmm. Our company specifically needed another acquisition guy. Why? Because we were starting to disperse marketing, and we're going to get into marketing, and we're going to get into data, and we're going to get into tools, resources, disposition, everything you can think of. But since we're talking personnel, let's go ahead and start with personnel. Some of the seats, right? Acquisition manager, okay. Junior acquisition, what does that mean? A junior AC is a lead manager or a follow-up manager.
We call them jacks.
Yeah, somebody who's consistently following up on all the leads that were at some point interested. That way they don't just fall through the cracks or some other investor grabs them. Disposition manager. We have a transaction coordinator. We have a chief financial officer that, she's overseeing all our numbers. She's kind of running the office. We have an admin. We have a business development manager. So there's so many different seats and positions within our company right now actively that, in my opinion, every single company has a different necessity. I'll give you an example, right? If you're killing, if Casey, if you're killing with you're closing deals, but there's leads slipping through the cracks and you don't have the time to follow up on these leads, I would say hire a junior acquisition, aka a lead manager. Hire a lead manager because that is what's costing you a lot of money right now, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you're doing okay and your lead flow isn't something crazy, then you bring on that acquisition person so you can start directly training. And we have onboarding processes for everything now. We have SOPs for everything now. So, then non-competes, NDAs, whatever. We have all that in place now, thanks to our CFO. But in your specific situation, if you're like, hey, Carlos, I'm doing great I'm closing deals. I'm having a tough time following up on leads, right? They're slipping through the cracks. I would say, well, forget hire an acquisition guy. You need to hire someone right now that's going to be able to do that for you right now, depending on your lead flow. Now, you could use an acquisition guy to still follow up on those leads, or you can just get somebody.
We did that for a while. So we found out. So the lead influx was obviously getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we kept hounding our acquisition managers to close these, to follow up on these leads. And we would be looking in the system. We're like, okay, this lead hasn't been touched in X amount of days. This lead hasn't been touched in X amount of days. This lead was trying to sell and you guys haven't even followed up. What's going on? But you can't blame them when you bring in an abundant amount of leads to the system. What's going to happen is that they're going to focus on the new ones. It's going to be hard to follow up with everything else. So we found a perfect balance where we hire a jack, which is a junior acquisition. What happens that if a lead hasn't been touched in 7+ days, then it's a free game. They can follow up on that lead themselves. And if they bring that lead back to life, they bring it back to the acquisition, and now they give that deal to the acquisition. And the skin in the game, right? Because we all want to have skin in the game, and every single business owner wants to have a skin in the game. And we said, what's going to be the best skin in the game for them? Now, their own percentages gets reduced if a junior acquisition brings the deal back to them. Therefore, they don't want to have anything slipping through the crack. But if it does, we have someone else to pick it up. And ultimately, instead of making $0, they make some kind of dollars. But what drives them now is their own percentages.
So going back in time, it sounds like it sounds like the acquisitions person is one of the first people you want to hire. But I know a lot of people in my network that are saying they bring on a personal assistant and then they're like, my life has changed.
Well, here's what I'll say to that. I agree with you because Carlos said it. Every business has something completely different. And I think one of the first things that you should do in your business is you need to figure out what kind of person you are. Are you the visionary? Are you really big on processes and systems? Like what is, I know disc testing is really good for this. You can really see what your strengths and weaknesses are so you can fill in the weaknesses. So for example, most companies have the visionary. Most companies have also, you know, when you marry people together, they have somebody who's more of an integrator. And so I agree with you guys that you have to figure out what your weak point is. And at the end of the day, the starting point of a business is going to be your lead flow. If your leads aren't coming in, you have to fix that first before you can give people enough work. So,
and that's why I wanted to talk about marketing first, you know, before we jumped into personnel, but you know, we skipped a few steps and went into personnel.
Well, we did go over it a lot in the last interviews, and that is why, you know, maybe we should have done a bigger recap, but we did go over a lot of your marketing stuff and how you guys got the leads to explode, which was great.
Marketing.
Okay.
But you guys can...
We can.
He's like, nope.
Casey, the crusher of souls
the
and
crushing
dreams.
of souls and dreams. No, I think that's a huge deal with it, and I do think we went over it really well. If you guys have anything else to add, please feel free. But I know a really big question for people is where to start hiring. Man, I sound like a total crack in the whip.
Let's continue to talk about hiring, right? So, Casey, like, what is your business? What do you think your business is lacking specifically?
So honestly, for us, a really big thing that we needed was handling leads. Like leads are dropping, like big time, because we're only 2 people.
Okay. So they're slipping through the cracks.
Yeah.
So who's handling your acquisitions department now? Is it you and someone else?
Yeah, my husband. He is a closer. He handles almost all of that stuff. The processing, setting. We're putting all the processes in place ourselves. He's the one that manages all of it.
So do you think that they're slipping through the cracks because nobody is following up with them?
Well, the biggest issue for us was finding the right CRM. I think we've gone back and forth between several. You know, I think, Sal, you said in the beginning, you start to try different things and you build it up and that doesn't quite work. So you kind of go back to square one. So we found ourselves revving up, going back to square one repeatedly. And so they get lost.
Yeah. So let's talk about a CRM, because that's very, very important, because we've made that mistake. Sal has tried over, what do you say, 10 different?
Well over 10. For sure.
Well, he's tried over 10 CRMs before we finally found something that works. So why don't you talk about why it's so important to have the right CRM, especially for scalability?
Because everything has a foundation, right? And once you have a bigger company, or like you have goals for a big company, you're gonna start thinking the foundation is not just one. You're gonna have multiple foundations for everything, right? So when you're talking about a company, its own foundation is a CRM system, right? And obviously the people in that company. And if you're talking about marketing, if we're talking about marketing strictly, I'm going to tell you the foundation is data, right? So there's multiple foundations in a company once you start dividing that company into different departments. And that's what we've been doing very well at, I think, in the past couple of years, I would say, because we start departmentizing everything inside the company and then start building up with a good foundation. Therefore, if it was lacking something, we would just scratch it out and then start from zero, and then boom, have something great right after that. And so if we're talking about systems, Podio, the reason we chose Podio because it was highly customizable, and I did not like sleeping at night, so I like to do the work and understand the way it works at nighttime, and I like drawing things and you know, the processes, the flows when a lead comes in. If this happens, that happens. If that happens, that happens. And I wanted to apply that into a system and a workflow rather than having your own people winging it, because you can only wing so much, but you're gonna stop falling into mistakes.
Right. I think that is so key, is a lot of people are winging it because they don't find themselves having enough time to even sit down and think of what those foundations are. And would you agree that it's worth taking the time to do so? It might slow things down a little bit, but having the processes in place, you said, was what really kind of got you guys rocking and rolling, right?
I'm gonna sound very, very cheesy when I say sometimes you take a step back or two, you know, step back for two forward. It literally works like that when you're having a company, and it's like almost like you have a hole in your boat, and are you gonna continue to patch those holes in your boat, or are you gonna just build a new boat for yourself and then rock and roll with that so you can go 100 miles per hour.
Yeah, I agree
Right?
100%. And I think that's a really hard mental challenge for a lot of people because they can't envision what the little steps and processes are. It's all just kind of going so quickly.
Well, and on that, even on the CRM, I know, and I'm notorious for this, is when it comes to CRMs, like I'm pretty good at just like natively just figuring it out my own, but I'm notorious about only learning about 8% of it and never fully utilizing the full, because I'm familiar with Infusionsoft. I've built campaigns off of there. I'm familiar with Salesforce. I've built full things there, but both of those platforms are massively capable of scaling to massive size, and I've only used up to 8-10% of it just because I got to just enough that would work for what I was doing and didn't have the time to fully learn all the capabilities.
And it's not always time. I think, because I've done the same thing as you guys. We've gone through like 10 CRMs and we went full circle back to Propelio because it was so basic and we knew we could build it out. Our biggest problem, and I think a big problem for investors, is they don't know the processes. You can't fully utilize a CRM or pick one if you have no idea what your process and your flow is and your business.
You can literally have a process done in less than a day. You can literally have a process done on a piece of paper this big and just say, if a lead comes in, I want this happens. If this happens, that happens. And literally just based on the knowledge that you've done from the trial and error. And then now you have a process and you can apply that process in a system. Obviously, there are systems out there that's built for you that do that in Propelio. But which, by the way, we've used Salesforce and Infusionsoft. And we use Infusionsoft for something else right now, but not for the wholesale business. But the problem with those softwares that you have to use their own developers to do something with the system.
That's a little
Therefore,
bit of a
it gets super, super pricey. And then now you're depending on their time. Where with Propelio, it was so simple that you can wake up in the morning and do something about it. Or you can have so many other developers that can do. It's almost like a native language that anyone can do, rather than having a Salesforce or Infusionsoft where they start customizing for you. That's the only thing I can say that was we didn't like about that.
So let me say this, Casey, and of course it's going to sound salesy, but if you go to investorautomation.com, you'll find a system that's scalable. It's called the Hercules, right? It's a Propelio system that already has worked out. It has 3 to 4 years of research and development. It's already worked out all the kinks. It's all the development is behind it, all the expenses is behind it. You can literally go to investorautomation.com and you can get the Hercules and you can start scaling that specific Propelio system, because that Propelio system was built for you to actually start scaling as a company where you have multiple users, such as more acquisition guys, more lead managers, aka junior acquisitions. Why don't you tell them a little about Hercules?
Well, I mean, Hercules is pretty much the system that we've developed throughout the years, and I've worked on it hundreds of hours. They say thousands, hundreds of hours alongside with other developers.
And we've spent a lot of money.
And definitely a lot of money on that.
So that's probably something that you may be looking for. Again, we've had our fair, share or experiences with a lot. And it was tough, man. It was tough to wait on people to get things done. And it was tough to pay such high prices if we needed, some kind of amendment on it. So, Sal just spent, like I said, in my opinion, thousands and thousands of hours building this system called Hercules. And it's been amazing for our business. And anybody who's using it now actively, they absolutely love it too. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
hey, and guys, we really appreciate you doing this with us this morning. I know it's fairly early over there, and just want to give a shout out to your tech team, because this is the first time we've got studio to studio type of interaction. We're going to go to a quick.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So we're going to go to a
pioneer.
Oh. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to keep going into this conversation. If you were liking what you are seeing from Carlos and Sal, please drop some comments. Please drop some love. Quick shout out: they do have an event coming up in Arizona, June 7th and 8th. Make sure you check into that. Hopefully, we can get a graphic or something. But we'll definitely drop some comments and information below. Yeah. But we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We're going to get more into this, and hopefully answer all of Casey's questions.
Boom.
The Propelio Academy, an all-in-one education resource for training in wholesales, Subject to wraps, short sales, flips, rentals, BRRRR, property management, and more. Go to propelio.com/academy to get your scholarship today. Propelio.com. What does Propelio offer? Lead generating websites, access to true MLS comps, off-market lead lists, and deal alerts. Get them all today at Propelio.com.
Good.
Hey everybody, thanks for coming back. I'm Ryan. This is Casey, and today we've got Carlos and Sal, and we're drilling down into the nitty-gritty of processes, how to build their, well, not build their business, but how they built their business.
How to be like them.
Be like them, yeah. We have interviewed them, both of them, separately before, and you need to check those out. We'll drop links somewhere. Both Carlos and Sal were major, they just dropped so much gold. Daniel has said, and Daniel doesn't give compliments, guys, so just when Daniel said both of y'all's interviews are his favorite interviews that he's seen on Propelio because there's so many nuggets. I think he watched y'all's
I
both
always said
twice.
thank you, man. We got love for Propelio. We're active users of Propelio. So much love to everybody out there. You know, Corey Thompson, my boy Donnie Ruffin's on Propelio. His girlfriend Danny's on Propelio. I mean,
Hugh Flores.
Yeah, how can we not have love for these? I mean, this is our.
Don't
community.
worry, I'll talk y'all into doing it too one of these days. Now that we got the studio.
Yeah, y'all are really big game changers. So that is why we're excited to have you here with us. So moving forward, we talked about the importance of CRMs and really kind of knowing your processes before you can really figure out or build out the best version of your CRM. So
Yes.
if there's anything else y'all want to add, feel free. But I'd like to kind of pivot back into the hiring side of things.
Yes.
Because once you've got the CRM in place, you know you have some needs and filling some seats. What does the hiring process look like for you guys in the beginning, and has it changed?
So yeah, and you know what? Can you find the slides from the? So let's talk about hiring, right? So we, believe it or not, I would say 99% of our team has come from social media. Okay.
That's interesting.
Let's talk about some of the hiring platforms, right? You got Indeed.com, Jobbing.com, Monster.com, you got Craigslist, you got social media. Well, for some crazy reason, I don't know what's going on, but social media has been the biggest hit for us. Okay. So I used to always say, this was like 3 years ago, when Sal and I were, barely like getting into like the social media stuff, we used to say, hey, people have to know who you are and what you're doing. So many opportunities come from that alone, right? When Sal and I made our first check, boom, we posted on Instagram and we were like, hey, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Like, a lot of folks, they confuse marketing for vanity, right? Like, oh, look at these douchebags with their cars and their watches and their checks and blah, blah, blah. No, like you're old school. Like, you're not seeing the bigger picture here. I'm freaking marketing. I'm attracting people that, I'm attracting money. You don't know how many people, like, shout out to my boy Chris the Shark out in Cali. You got to have this guy. This guy's a freaking killer. He's a whale shark. So I attracted so many people from Instagram, from Facebook. We've sold out events from these social media platforms. So we hire 99% of our personnel from social media. And the beautiful part about hiring from social media is they already know your culture, right? They have a brief background of who you are, where you come from, what you're looking to do, what the big vision is, et cetera, right? If you're out there on social media and you're doing these things, good for you. Good for you. Yeah, you're going to get some backlash. You're going to get some hate. But most importantly, a majority of that, you're going to create a lot of opportunity, not only for yourself, but for other people that now have access to you, right? Why not use the social media platform?
So it's free. And you have something like Jobbing or Monster or these other services that
which charge
they charge money, and they're becoming extinct at this point, right? They get bombarded with emails. Like I've seen those tools, and they don't really. I don't think in this era, especially for real estate investing, that did not work for us. We tried it, and that's not.
I mean, our admin and hiring manager has tried, again, Indeed.com, Monster.com, Jobbing.com, Craigslist. Like, we hired this girl from Craigslist to be a junior dispo, and she lasted 2 weeks, and our social media people have lasted a very long time. They're still there. They see the vision. They're winning. They love what they do, and they've embraced the culture. So, again, those are some of the hiring platforms. Okay.
Do you
now,
real quick, Carlos? Do you think that the reason that the traditional routes have kind of, I don't want to use the word failed, but haven't worked out,
faded.
That's a better word. And then the social media people have stick around because if they're already following you on social media, they're already, akin to that culture. They're already, as pardon the pun, they're already all in.
Absolutely.
Well, I don't even think it's against that culture. I think it's that they understand what you're about. They know your core values. They know what your business look like. So when they come to your operation and asking for an opportunity there, they already understand what's going to happen. They already know. They've seen it. Rather than someone coming from Indeed.com or Jobbing, and they don't know you. They don't know nothing about you. They've seen a piece of an email saying, hey, these guys want to hire. And they come in and they're like, oh, okay, well, what is this? And I think that's why it's becoming less effective throughout time. There's nothing that beats social media now.
And I'm not saying that those hiring platforms don't work, because I still think that you can hire some solid quality people there. But again, what's worked for us is social media. So we're very grateful for that.
Yeah, I will say my favorite interview of all time was I was interviewing a person for what turned out to eventually be Travion's job, and I'm looking at the resume, and I was like, it looks like you would eventually rather do XYZ, and she's like, yeah. I said, well, in 6 months, if XYZ comes available, are you leaving? And she goes, yeah. I was like, well, I guess this interview. It's like, why even continue this conversation?
Well, I would say too that I think a lot of people don't realize real estate on paper, you could take your skill set and say, oh, I can do that, until you're actually in it and you're like, oh, dang, I got to work for this. And it's a lot of hustle, and it's a lot of grit, and it's a lot of things involved that I don't think people
absolutely.
know about.
And that's what going back to hiring, that's why you want these people to have the core values that you or your company have. And you want these people to see the bigger picture. You want these people to embrace the vision, because if you're looking to come in, and believe me, we've been down this path, right? Where folks see us, they see us on social media, they see us winning on social media, whatever. And, they call it clout chasing, or they want to just be part of the, whatever, the hype, right? And then, they want to eventually do their own thing, just like Ryan said.
Yeah.
And that's something we say, hey, are you in this for the long run, or what is your 1 year goal, your 1 year plan? What's your 3 year goal? What's your 5 year goal? I'm actually looking to stick around here for about a year, learn everything I can, and go and create my own business. Yep. Bye. No, you're not going to come in here.
Well, because
you're not going to extract all our info, all our resources, tools, all the money we spent on research and development, and then run off into the sun. That is not going to happen.
Yeah, because pretty much
core values are important.
Pretty much any employee of any business ever is the first 3 months is learning. The next 3 months is really finding that groove, and then out of a year, you're really only getting 6 months of a quality employee, or not employee, but a quality. Finding that channel and actually producing.
And I think a lot of people try to hire like you. That was a mistake we made, for example. We're like, we want to find someone who is a hustler, who's just going to pick up and learn, who's going to be okay with grinding. And then you realize you're never going to replicate yourself. Let's be honest. You're running a real estate business.
You never are. You can probably.
I always say this. So one of the biggest things, if you're a control freak, which everybody in business are control freaks, they hate to let go of that task. But if you're willing to let go of that task, and knowing that someone else is going to do that with 70%, 80% of your capacity, then you should be okay with that.
Absolutely.
Because with that 100% of freedom that you have, you can compensate for that 20% and way more.
That's a golden nugget, I think, honestly, is that if you can hire someone at 70 to 80% of your skill set, that is key. You aren't the first person I've heard that from, and a lesson I've learned too, so that's great. Just wanted to point that out.
Absolutely. And it was hard. It's not, don't get me wrong. It's hard. It's hard to say, I'm going to step down from this seat. But the best way that I've found out how to do it from stepping down in my seats and Carlos's seats is, we hire the people, and we have the people that become team members, and you just oversee that department. So that becomes your responsibility.
Yes.
No matter what happens, you still have a chain of command, and that's your responsibility. So you're literally not stepping out of it. You're just overseeing it, and you continue to nurture it and continue to bring more value to it. Therefore, you're actually more involved than you think you are, because you're working on the business now rather than in the business, and you can almost see what's happening from right up top, and you can catch a problem before it happens. Therefore, you become a big asset of that department. So don't feel like, oh, well, I'm going to step down. I feel less important in that role, in that position. It's absolutely the opposite, actually.
Logan had a good point on YouTube, and I think he's retracted his statement, but I'll say it anyway because that's the internet for you. But he was saying, he's like, why be concerned with an employee being around for a year? Kind of, I don't want to use the word stealing, but learning everything and then running away when you have events when you'll teach a lot of this stuff anyway. And I'll answer what I get out of that for you, and then y'all can answer. And what I would say is there's a huge difference between somebody paying me money and me helping them grow, and then you coming in and me paying you to help me grow, and then you run away.
Absolutely.
But I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts as well.
Absolutely. Plus, I mean, again, it comes down to, what the intentions are, right? So, we know very clearly that when we throw in a momentum event, we're helping people scale their companies or their businesses to multi-million-dollar levels. We know, I mean, that momentum event is $5,000 a pop. And believe me, if you talk to anybody who's been to our events, they'll tell you how their lives have changed and how they scaled their business. Now, that is a very clear understanding. Now, when you have somebody try to come in the door and say, hey, I want to be on your team. I want to be on your team. I want to grow with you. I want to be part of this, right? I mean, those are two different things,
right,
man. Those, apples and oranges. You know what I mean?
Well, one of our best acquisition managers today is 21 years old, right?
Yep.
And he was a wholesaler himself. He tried it, and he came in, but we believed in him. This guy sent us a video on Instagram.
It took us almost a year to hire him.
To hire this guy, but this guy really wanted it. And guess what? This guy, a guy like that, usually would shut down.
Yes.
Because he's in the same business, think he's going to steal.
And Casey, we're going to get into hiring, by the way. And let me just say this, and I think I've said this before. Be slow to hire and fast to fire.
Yes.
Slow to hire, fast to fire, guys.
That is my
you
mantra.
Do not allow. Golden nugget, drop it. Yes. All right. So guys, it has cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars by having the wrong people in the wrong seats. Okay. When one of your acquisition guys is converting 200 leads to one deal, come on now. How much money is that costing you? And then you allow this person to be in your company 4-6 months. How much money is this costing you?
And
you see what I'm saying?
And costing him as well, because he's not making money.
And he's not doing a service to himself or his family. That's why you got to be quick to fire, guys. You got to be quick for that.
But also just not even the money aspect, but the emotional drain, not on just the management, but it's the dark cloud. I mean, how often have you had that friend that's in a bad mood and they walk in the room and all of a sudden everybody's in a bad mood? So I would assume that has a play in there as well.
So unfortunately, yeah, you're right. And that happens. You can't bring a toxic person onto the team because that will spread. But unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. We haven't really brought toxic people into our team, but we have brought some people that have underachieved, and out of the kindness of our heart and, out of the immaturity as businessmen, we've allowed these people to prolong their stay while we're paying them a draw every single month, while they're, mishandling and wasting our leads, and it's costing us hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no room, you and I both know in real estate, time is of the essence. 1 week is 1 month in real estate. 1 month is 1 year in real estate. Things move really fast in real estate.
And if someone is listening to this and they feel like that in their own company, just, how you're going to feel better. I know it's going to suck firing your friend or doing this, but when you have a task assigned or lead assigned to that person, you bring someone new to touch these leads, and now they're all of a sudden converting deals. You just got to look back and how many months of those deals could have happened, but you missed out on that.
Right.
And now that's your competition literally got that. So you shouldn't feel bad. When it comes to business, a lot of emotions can be involved, when it comes to someone is mismanaging or someone doesn't have this certain skill set, maybe you can try to, as a good friend maybe, or a good boss or a good business owner, maybe you can find a different seat for them and delegate that before you fire them, or maybe they become great at it. Actually, our best disposition person, he did not succeed as an acquisition manager, and I saw something in him, and I told Carlos, I'm like, I want this guy to be our dispo. I want this guy to be under our dispo wing and have him sling deals. And if you ask me, he's the best disposition
In the
I've
country.
seen
In the
so far.
country.
And he still gets compliment. He gets gift from around the country because he does such a great job.
Shout out to Jaden Pudney.
Yeah, Jaden
honestly,
Pudney.
what you said right there, Sal, is you took the words right out of my mouth, because a lot of times people are going to come to you thinking they're best for a position, and I was going to say a huge key point is it's the responsibility of you guys and you and your company to be able to know what somebody's good at and place them correctly, because otherwise, and you're going to have to do them a service in having your system set up so they know what to do. So it is on the responsibility of you as business owners to be able to do that. That's a huge key.
But also,
Yeah, you have to have a sense for that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ryan.
But I was going to say, it also sounds like there's a lot of belief in this person from you and Carlos, Sal. Like the fact that y'all have so much belief in him. Do you think that comes into a play where now he feels like, man, I really need to put out because the boss
That
the boss
doesn't
is
always
believing
work.
me. The
That
boss
doesn't
is-
always
yeah.
work.
Oh, it doesn't work.
Doesn't
So
always work.
let's say this, okay? The one thing that you cannot teach is work ethic.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
this man has work ethic. This man was driving 1 hour one way in an old 1980 something Toyota truck that like
Kept breaking down.
kept breaking down. You want that kind of guy on your team, because you already know that he's willing to give he's willing to give up everything, and the loyalty is insane.
Yeah.
Like, we've been able to build these companies. It's not because of just me and Sal. We don't even call ourselves bosses, or we're hey, well, I'm your boss. No, not at all. We call each other what? Team members.
Yeah.
We're team members. We happen to be the leaders of our company, but I don't consider myself anybody's boss. I'm just another team member. I'm one of the leaders in the company, and that's the kind of culture that we've created. And like I said, going back to what we were saying about, this person sticking around, this person, guys, has created millions of dollars for our company, and his work ethic, as visionaries that Sal and I are, we were able to see, hey, you know what? By the way, you got to read the book Traction, of course.
Yeah.
Traction, Gino Wickman, you got to read the book. As the visionaries, Golden Nugget, as the visionaries we are, we were like, you know what? This guy is not an acquisition guy. This guy is a disposition guy, and you got to be able, you got to be willing and able to determine that. And that comes down to you being focused on the task at hand, being focused on your business, or else, things are just going to slip by. For what we know, if Sal and I weren't as involved or obsessed with our business, we could have probably just said, this guy sucks at acquisitions. Let's let him go. Bye.
Absolutely.
Exactly. But that's part of having great relationships with your own team.
So real quick, I just want to jump in because I think we're going to take another break here in a second. But before we do, I do want to give an opportunity to pitch and tell everybody, if y'all aren't following Carlos and Sal on Instagram, make sure you do so. They've just launched their podcast. They've got 4 or 5 episodes on their YouTube channel, All In Entrepreneurs. Actually, on our YouTube channel, if you go to the main cover page, we have you as a featured channel because abundance, baby.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
You have an event coming up June 7th, June 8th. Tommy, did you get that graphic ready? Let's put that on the screen so the people can see it. This is the event. Look at that lineup, guys.
Good.
You want to talk about real players? Those are some real players. Friends of ours. You got Quentin. You've got Donnie. Elijah. You got so many awesome people that's coming to this event. So, and if you're watching a year from now, find these guys on the interwebs. Allin.com. What's y'all's website?
All in Freedom.
Allinfreedom.com, because I'm sure they're still kicking out badass events and whatnot. Let's do like 1 or 2 more questions, then take a break, and then wrap it up. So what you got?
Honestly, y'all have been like rolling through my questions just in chatting.
Okay, well, in
Carlos,
that
I
case,
think you were about to say
yeah,
something.
Carlos, you're about to say something. Chat it up, baby.
When we come back, I want to discuss with Casey what to look for when hiring an acquisition hire and acquisition manager. Would that be valuable to you, Casey?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, Tommy, take us to break, and we'll come back. We're going to get right back to it, guys.
Boom.
The Propelio Academy, an all-in-one education resource for training in wholesales, subject to wraps, short sales, flips, rentals, burr, property management, and more. Go to propelio.com/academy to get your scholarship today. Propelio.com. What does Propelio offer? Lead generating websites, access to true MLS comps, off-market lead lists, and deal alerts. Get them all today at Propelio.com.
Here we go.
And we're back. Thanks everybody for being here. Again, this is Propelio TV. I'm Ryan. This is Casey, and we are talking to two powerhouses out of Phoenix, Arizona, Carlos and Sal. We've talked about this earlier. We both interviewed them individually, and now we have the honor for doing both of them. I know, Carlos, right before we went break, you were saying how you're going to completely 1,000x Casey's business. So let's do it.
Okay, so Miss Casey's looking to hire an acquisition manager, and the first thing you need to look for, now that we've discussed hiring platforms, etc., the first thing you need to look for in an acquisition manager is does that person's core values align with yours, right? That is the foundation of this. Does that person's core value align with what you're trying to do in your company? That's the first thing you need to look for, right? And that's something that, don't be afraid to ask the tough questions. What is your home life like? What have you been doing these past years? How come you're trying to leave where you got to ask the tough questions in order to get the answers, because you do not want to make a hiring mistake. We just discussed how that can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So make sure that their core values align. Now, the next thing that I would immediately look for is this person a people person? Is this person a people person? Is this someone that creates likability? Is this someone that people can trust? Is this someone that I would enjoy working with and sellers would enjoy working with? So is this person a people person? Is this person a genuine person, a caring person, right? Because you can't teach that stuff. So the other things that I would immediately look for is this person a problem solver? Is this person a problem solver? As you know, Casey and Ryan, in our business, what do we do day in, day out?
Solve problems.
We solve problems. We solve problems all day long. So does this person have the ability? Does this person have the ability to solve problems? Okay. The other thing that I will look for, and this is a very important thing, and I'll let Sal even touch up on this, because we've had a lot of people come in here and they qualify the criteria. They have the right core values. They're a people person. They're problem solvers, right? But are they closers? Could this person close the deal? When push comes to shove and we're at the final stage, can this person get them to sign on the dotted line? You want to discuss a little bit about that?
Yeah, I call that the friend zone. And that's the closest. That's the closest way of explaining it, because you build so much rapport with that person. Let's relay back to when you like someone so much, and like, let's say in your high school or whatever, and you were such a good friend to them, but you're afraid to ask them out because you might lose them as a friend, but you couldn't even live to continue being that one good friend. That's like being friend zoned, because you put yourself in that position and you can't blame anyone else but yourself. So we've had acquisition managers where they were friend zoned. They would put themselves in a friend zone where they built such a great rapport, and then now they enjoy the talk. The seller is talking to them. They're pouring their heart to them. Now it's time to close. They can't have the balls to do it. They wait and wait and wait and wait, and now the deal dies. There's no deal. The whole purpose gets lost.
Balls equals golden nugget. Joking.
Carlos is controlling the Nuggets from Arizona.
Don't
Tommy.
drop a golden nugget on that.
Yes, I agree with you. That's great.
I have one more thing, though. I have one more thing that we always ask that person, what was your first job? What was your first thing that you've done to earn money?
That's a very important. Remember, we were talking about you got to ask the tough questions, Casey, right? So one thing that we always ask, and by the way, I'm willing to definitely send you our interview questions, Casey. I'll get our CFO to send you our. It's Brit. Well, I'll send it to you. I'll send you her details after. But one of our questions is, what was the first thing you ever had to do for money, no matter what age? Like, how old were you?
I think that's
you
huge.
get so many different answers, right? Oh, you know what? I was mowing lawns when I was 11 years old every single summer to get money to buy clothes. You want a person like that on your team. You want an entrepreneur on your team, right? So guys, just because this person's going to come work with you doesn't mean they're not entrepreneurs. Our office is built with nothing but entrepreneurs. They only eat what they kill, okay? But again, just because they come join your team doesn't make them any less of an entrepreneur. These are just entrepreneurs who are going to join a team and are going to allow you to make all the marketing expenses. And all they do is, they make 8, 9, or 10% based on, what they close. So it doesn't make them less entrepreneurs, but in my opinion, you want to look for entrepreneurs. Are we still good? Are we still live?
Yeah, we can hear you. Just keep going, man. The feed is black, but we can hear you, so it's all good.
Oh, we're back on. Okay. So just to summarize what we talked about as far as an acquisition person, because I had some notes here. You got to dig deep for those core values, right? You got to be a people person. You got to be a problem solver. Preferably, you want experienced sales-oriented prospects. What does that mean? That means somebody who's used to the commission lifestyle, right? Not somebody who's going to freak out. They don't close a deal or two in a month and they're running for the hills. So commission-based, past jobs are they're vital. They're vital. Look for that when you're hiring somebody. And like I said, make sure that they're closers. Make sure that they're able to close deals. Make sure that they close you on the interview, right? If they can't close you on an interview, if they can't close you on why they should join your team, why you should hire them, they're probably not going to be able to close sellers over the phone.
I'm gonna give 2 examples. So one of them is when the interview, we had this water fountain, that's little one that just, water goes through it.
Amazon
and we're like, okay,
water fountain.
In the interview, I asked, what's your biggest closing skill? What's your biggest, let's say tool? Sales skill.
Sales, yeah.
And some people say, okay, building rapport. I get people to be comfortable because we kind of let them understand, like, hey, this is building rapport business. It's not just closing the sale like going for the kill right away. It's like more of a massaging the deal until closing it. And then they tell you that this is the kind of person, and I immediately revert to okay, sell me this water fountain. Sell me that. And then they start giving me this spill, this and that, and then boom, trying to close me. I'm like, and then I'll be like, where is the rapport building? You just told me your biggest skill is rapport building, but you went for the kill. So that's not your biggest. So sometimes they will tell you what you want to hear because they think that's what's best. But guess what? You kind of will have to trick them on that interview and tell them. So ask them a few questions and boom, right on the spot, before they get to think about it, right on the spot, ask them something. And guess what happens? Boom. Now you find out exactly what kind of person they are before they even know it.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Agreed.
The second thing, we were about to hire someone and he's a friend of mine and we still thinking about it, but I don't know. I'm on the fences. He moved from another state. He said he didn't move for that reason. I told him not to move in here because of that reason. And we give 2 months in our company. We do give 2 months of a safety net, but he didn't know that. The fact that he asked for it, he was instantly disqualified. Reason is, I said we don't look for people
that want to be comfortable.
That want to be exactly that. If you want us to make you feel comfortable, then that's not the kind of person we want. That's not what we're about. Because we're not comfortable. We don't come to work thinking that, it's going to be a shiny day or anything. We don't expect to hire someone that wants to be comfortable. We want to hire someone that thrives in the uncomfort zone and wants to strive for being better. Therefore, that person, I told him that even though what he asked for is exactly what we give.
So when can we talk about tools and resources?
Well, honestly, guys, you know, we've already, that's what I love talking to you guys is we've already gone through a full hour.
I'm like, we need like a series.
I know. That's what I was
of
literally
you
about to
guys.
say is, and I love that when we do these shows, especially with you guys, how we have a vision for it to go this way, and then we pivot.
I'm
I know
not
you
gonna
love the
lie,
word.
this was my vision.
Yeah.
This right here was mine because I'm experiencing this pain point in our business, and like we're basically implementing traction and going through that grueling process. But I think a lot of investors out there, they work so hard on getting the knowledge on real estate that they skip that step on how to actually build the business. And so that's what I wanted to really
Casey,
pull out.
let me say this. It's a people person business, not only when it comes to the acquisition side, but it's a people person business when building a team.
Absolutely.
So it's just a people person business in general, and that is what a lot of people forget about real estate.
So what I'd like to do, guys, is offline, if you don't mind. I'd love to get you back on the schedule because I think this was great. And like again, talk about the systems and more of those things with the two of you. Y'all can't hear us anymore?
We can't hear him, guys.
Uh-oh. Well, I'll just keep going.
Okay, you're back. I
Now
can
we
hear
can
you.
hear.
I can hear you.
All I was saying is we need to go offline, get on the calendar, and get y'all back on here if you'll have us.
Jesus.
We
Dude,
didn't even talk about tools, resources.
I know. We'll do a
data.
full 10-part series with you guys.
Well, one question on the tools and resources is you mentioned the book Traction. What is another like tool that you would point people in the direction of in terms of really internalizing and understanding how to do the things we've talked about? Do you have any other resources you would suggest investors go to? Programs,
So
aside from yours.
Remember,
right?
we mentioned the CRM, right? Going to investorautomation.com and you know, grabbing a Podio, a CRM system that is scalable to create to building a company.
Mm-hmm.
We did say that.
I think the second biggest thing when it comes to a business is knowing your numbers. A lot of people fail. A lot of people think more is better, but sometimes they see more money coming into the business, but they don't keep it, or they don't keep track of it.
Yeah.
And therefore, for our business, we hold our KPIs very close.
Yes.
We're always watching our KPIs, our key point indicators.
Yeah.
And we watch that on weekly basis. And if performance goes down on one person or a market or something like that, we instantly act on that because now we have the power. We know what was happening for the previous months, what led up to this.
The previous quarter.
Yeah, previous quarter. And then now we act on that. Whether it's with employees, whether with people, whether it's with new markets, with marketing campaigns, whatever it is. And that's another big tools that we utilize.
We didn't even talk about numbers, Casey. I know we're running short on time, but let me say this. You know, huge respect to our CFO, B. Hasenberg. Why? Because you don't want to be the kind of investor that flies blind. What does flying blind mean? It means you're out there disbursing marketing dollars, or you're in different markets spending money and you don't even know what's coming back, what your ROI is for that specific marketing channel, or you don't even know what your ROI is for that specific market.
Or your team member, what their team member's performance
we
is.
We even keep KPIs on our team members. You know, how many leads is it taking for this person to get a deal? How many phone calls is this person making a day? Like, we track every single little aspect in our business. And when you start doing that, you strategically start to spend your dollars wisely, and you're able to, most importantly, stretch your dollar, and it's going to go so much farther. Why? Because now you know exactly where to dump your money. And that's why keeping track of your KPIs on not only the marketing channels, but all your markets and all your team members is so important. You don't want to be the investor out there. Most of them are right now, unfortunately. 99% of them are flying blind, and that is what separates, again, a multi-million-dollar company to your mom and pop, investor, is, keeping track of your KPIs, knowing where your money's spending and where you need to spend more money.
What gets measured gets improved.
Yeah, something we started implementing as a company scorecard. So it's exactly that. We basically say how many calls need to be made, how many are being made, and we can watch it every week. And if we see we aren't hitting those numbers, you know where the hole is. So that's good stuff.
Casey, you have homework yet again to get some more questions out. Carlos and Sal, thanks so much for doing with us. Real quick, what is your podcast? What are your goals of your podcast, your YouTube channel? What kind of content are y'all trying to bring?
Okay, real quick, honestly, man, like, we didn't expect to be in this position, 3.5 years ago. And here we are. And we just want to we want to share the wealth. Unfortunately, when we were coming up, there wasn't a lot of people out there that were just, they had that go-giver mentality. Well, we want to create that trend, and we want to create that culture. We want to be go-givers, and we want a lot of people that are in our shoes now to also give, to serve without expectations, and that's why we have the All In Entrepreneurs podcast. We have 5 episodes there, and that's going amazing. We're giving so much value there. The YouTube channels, official Carlos Reyes, Sal Shakir, Alex Signs, that's going amazing with the YouTube channels.
The podcast is All In Entrepreneurs.
I already said that. I said that. And most importantly, guys, this is probably the only time, I don't know if we'll ever do this again, but the All In Freedom event that we're doing for folks that are looking to be where we are now. Again, less than 4 years ago, I went to Flip to Freedom, Sean Terry's Flip to Freedom, and that really helped us out. And for folks that are looking to advance whatever strategies they have going now, if you're doing 1-2 deals and you're looking to scale it up to 5, 7, 10, you definitely need to be at this event, All In Freedom. This is not Momentum. Momentum is a whole different type of event. This is a much cheaper event. You're getting this event anywhere from $300 to $500. And, we're going to teach people how to be an active real estate investor, how to find off-market discounted properties. That is what we're going to teach people at this event. And I'm looking forward to it. This is the first time that we're doing this kind of event, and it's probably the last time. It does, as you know, Ryan, it takes a lot of work and a lot of money to put these events together. And, you just don't know what the outcome is going to be, but it's part of serving,
Mm-hmm. And as far as wrapping up this entire conversation, again, if y'all have us, we would love to have y'all back. What is a quick bow that y'all could put on the hiring in that process? If there isn't a bow, we can just put it in the next episode.
So real quick, to finish up on the All In Freedom, we're going to create a coupon for Propelio.
Awesome.
We're going to create a coupon for Propelio, and they'll be able, whoever's watching, whoever watched the show live, whoever watches the show later, just use the word podcast, and they'll be able to get a pretty nice, massive discount to go to All In Freedom. The lineup is insane. But just to wrap up what you're saying is, again, be slow to hire and be quick to fire. That is how I would wrap that up. Make sure that you do your due diligence. You don't just bring somebody onto your team. You just don't do that. You don't want to make those mistakes that we've made. Be slow to hire, be quick to fire.
It's awesome, guys.
Great.
Sal, you got anything?
There's one thing that I learned recently from a good friend of mine. He said, set expectations, set intentions, and release expectations.
Nice.
That's one of my favorite lines. I mean, if you're a true servant, when you do something, obviously a lot of people do it and they expect something in return right away. But if you're selfless, you're gonna do some things without expecting anything back, and guess what? Always comes back 10 times fold.
I love it. I love it.
Very
Casey, final thoughts, final plugs. What's going on?
My biggest takeaway is really taking the time to understand the processes in your own business before you can guide others to come on board with you. So, guys, follow these guys online. They're a wealth of information. I'm learning this as I go too. Hey, I close full closure deals in DFW. So if you're having difficulty closing
Beautiful.
one, give me a call, because we know how to do it, and we know how to do it quickly. I'll either buy it from you, or I will help you close it. So you can find me. I'm tagged in this. Just message me.
And Carlos, Sal, do y'all need any, other than people following y'all and going to y'all's events, anything else that y'all are looking for that y'all could plug and pitch?
Real quick, for a lot of folks out there that either are new in the game or are active in the game, it's a very small world. And this is something that, remember, Sean told us when we were getting in the game. This is a reputation business.
Yes.
So never, ever, ever burn anybody. It's not worth it. Never burn somebody. This is a reputation business, and it's a very small world. So always, always, always handle yourself with integrity.
I agree.
Love that. That's a great note to go out on.
Awesome. Propelio.com. If you're looking for leads, if you're looking for websites, if you're looking for comps, check out Propelio.com. We are actually in a beta of our Driving for Dollars app right now. If you are a current subscriber to Propelio and you're using a awesome phone, which means if you're using Droid, awesome equals iPhone.
Oh.
You can sign up for the beta of the Drive for Dollars and help us tweak out all the bugs and whatnot.
I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you said it, not me.
What's that?
Team iPhone.
About
Team
iPhone?
iPhone.
Team iPhone, yes sir. I'm an Apple guy for life. I got Apple. It's all good. Again, guys, I would love to have y'all back. We'll talk offline and see if we can make that happen. If you are planning on going all in freedom, so as Daniel and I, we're going to be out there, represent Propelio and try to provide value to you guys out there. So that's it for today. Stick around. We'll do this again. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Much love.
Oh. Tommy, always failing.
Propelio TV is sponsored by Noble Mortgage and Investments, Batch Skip Tracing, Think Multifamily, CreativeCashflow.com, and Lifener.
Hey everybody, I'm Ryan with Propelio. If you like what you saw, please subscribe. Turn on those notifications and stick around for more. We have tons of content like this all over our channel. So if you want to learn more about real estate investing, stick around, watch Propelio TV, and we'll see you later.